Duncan Gets Spooked. Based on the story by David Mitton and Britt, Allcroft, and a true event witnessed by Simierski. Darkening the realms of audio through Ryan and Simon. In the cold of the silvery night, guided only by a flickering light, the wee train pushed trucks with all of its might. The air was still as they chuffed up the hill, approaching the bridge that would see their kill. Too late to realise their blunder, the trucks tore them asunder, and they were thrown to the marsh that dragged them under. There was no one for miles to hear them yell. Alone and terrified they quickly fell, grasped by the tentacles of a watery hell. Some nights in the darkness you can hear their call, crying out for someone to stop their fall. But no one can help them, no one at all. Many years ago, in the high hills of Sodo, two scrap merchants were out on the rob, stealing guardrails from an old iron bridge on a small mineral railway, serving several quarries.
Well, what have we got here? Ooh, a lovely bit of iron, this one, don't you think? I think I'll just get a butcher's of that.
Are you sure this is right, Terry?
Stupid sausage. Railway's closing down soon, son. Word is they've only got a few more months. It's all over. Well, look at it this way. We're doing them a favour, aren't we? Helping them with all the discount. And if we make a little profit on the side, no one's going to be any the wiser, are they?
Never entirely profitable, the railway had descended into a slow, steady decline, with poorly maintained locomotives running on rickety old track. The bridge was no exception to this. The men took what they came for and left. Little did they know what they were going to be responsible for later that evening. The last train of the day made its way across the old iron bridge. The engine collected its load of stone and started back, propelling the trucks as it went. The first truck hit a snag in the rails. Without the guardrails to prevent a full derailment, it lurched off the bridge. The engine braked as hard as it could, but the weight of the loaded truck was too much. The load scattered across the boggy marsh from below, and the entire train plunged helplessly beneath the surface. No one heard their cries for help. They were miles from anywhere, and by the time the engine was discovered to be missing a few days later, the marsh had flooded, and he and his crew had vanished without trace. The line closed a few months later as predicted. But in the subsequent years, a new source of stone prompted a reopening. The Thing Controller sent Duncan, Rusty, and Peter Sam to help with the rebuilding. As well as re-establishing links with the old quarries, the initial work consisted of clearing branches and undergrowth along the same section as where the old iron bridge still stood. Duncan complained bitterly about it and banged trucks furiously around the yard.
Shut the silly trucks in a good yard. The thing controller just wants me out the way. I never wanted to come here in the first place.
Oh, Duncan, the way you behave, he'd have been better off not to have sent you at all. You've spilled more than enough rubbish from those trucks, and that just means more work for the men.
This is supposed to be your job. I could pull more trucks from here to there than either of you two.
Duncan, it's not my job, it's called teamwork. We're all taking it in turns to shunt in the yard.
Aye, and I've had enough of shunting. I want to go for a run.
Peter Sam was making his way back to the shunting yard with another rubbish train before heading back to the quarries.
The gauge is getting low. We'll stop at the water tunnel and build a train.
Let's make it quick. Duncan will throw another strop if we're late.
Yeah, I was going to hang up to I think I'll be glad I got low and something works.
The trucks being used for the rubbish trains were old and worn. The thing controller had decided to give them one last reprieve before sending them off for scrap. The workmen were warned not to overload them, but quite often needs must. As a result, Peter Sam felt a terrible shaking tugging on his coupling between himself and the first truck. All of a sudden, it happened.
What's happening?
Yeah, crumbs. The wretched trucks are broken free.
The guard braked hard, but knew his efforts would do little good. He leapt from his van into the bushes by the side of the line, watching helplessly as the truck spun out of control and hurtled down the line. He gave chase for a few hundred yards and then watched them clatter into one another on the old iron bridge, plunging into the depths of the marshland below. I still believe it.
Where did they go? Oh no! Duncan will never let me hear the end of this.
Yeah, never mind, Duncan. Wait till the thing controller finds out.
The foreman said that you agreed that the trucks would be able to carry that amount. You're all at fault here, Peter Sam. But those trucks should have been secured on that hill. You'll be shunting here for the duration. Duncan can start hauling trains early instead.
Finally!
It wasn't my fault, sir.
I want no excuses, Peter Sam. Just be grateful you weren't attached to those trucks. Unlike the last engine that lost its train on that bridge.
Well, well, well. Peter Sam, the perfect engine, runs out of luck at last. That'll come back to haunt you, you know, lad. You'll have to stuck the ghost.
I wouldn't joke about that if I were you, Duncan.
Ah, don't tell me you believe in that nonsense. You going soft in the front end?
Don't be so rude, Duncan. Is the engine still here, Rusty?
The valley flooded in the days following the accident. And by the time it had cleared, a rescue would have been both difficult, and given the fact the railway never had much longer to go anyway, pretty pointless. So, they did the only thing they could. They left him and his crew buried in the marsh.
How awful.
The railway became a popular nature walk, and on more than one occasion, people who have ventured out toward the bridge late at night have heard the sound of an engine at work. It's not unusual. We do night runs on our railway all the time. It's not so usual when there are no rails for an engine to run on. There was one notable incident the driver knows of.
Why couldn't we have come in daylight? This place has been shut for months.
Oh, it's a bunch of bureaucratic twaddle, the boy. It's still in the hands of the official receiver. All that nonsense. Demolition mob are going to dispose of this lot themselves. We've got to get what we can while there's still time. We're going to get our lot off that old iron bridge. Ian, am I going nuts? What did you just hear, son? Just...
Sounds like a train.
Well, blow me, it is a bloody train! Quick, get outside!
Then the two men watched as as the engine moved a set of loaded trucks across the bridge. They were astounded. They had been fully convinced that the railway had closed long ago and that the engines had all been set for scrap.
Must be working the mines out.
And then, gradually, the engine's sound came fainter and fainter, and then it vanished.
What on earth just happened? Oh, I could have sworn I saw. Oh, that's not a pleasant thing to have to think about. I may be a thief, but I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Here, lad, take your arm off. Let us look at this momentous occasion for the traumatic experience that it is. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. What's a bloody man? I'd never seen someone had a religious conversion before. I think this experience has taught me to give up my life of crime before someone else gets hurt. I think for me it'll be the cross from now on. I have found my saviour in Jesus Christ. Long may he, well, not live exactly, but long may he prosper.
The two scrap merchants fled. At first no one believed them, but that particular spot has become popular with campers, and many people say they've seen the engine trying to cross that old iron bridge.
Load of old nonsense! Ghosts! Ha! That'll be the day!
Well, I believe you.
And well you should. Many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full and high over the old iron bridge, you can see the little engine and its crew trying to make it home. But it never reaches the other side.
Ha! Rubbish! That bridge is as tame as a pet rabbit. Ghosts indeed.
Never mind him, Peter Sam. Same old Duncan, you know. But I'll tell you this much. He would have a fit if he ever saw the ghost.
Yeah, Rusty, that's a brilliant idea.
What do you have in mind?
You wait and see. I think Duncan's crew are right keen on this.
The next day, the two crews spoke to one another while Duncan was readied by a fish.
You'll do it tonight. Now, I've got the brick for you here. You must wait for our signal to drop it.
This'll put the wind up, Duncan. I'll whistle as we come towards the bridge. That'll give you time to move out from the siding.
Once they had agreed upon a plan, they set to work. Peter Sam went to arrange some coaches, Rusty took a permanent way train to the wharf, and Duncan took his empty stone trucks to the quarry. His driver made sure, as part of the plan, to cross the old iron bridge.
Barely 100 Gunter here, while on Rusty's ghost.
In the valley, Peter Sam whistled loudly, and the echo carried up to the iron bridge.
What are you quivering for? It's only Peter Sam.
I'm no quivering.
All the same, he kept thinking of Rusty's story. And when they made it to the quarry, he was keen to leave.
And Rusty will take my favourite place in the shed. We can come back for this tomorrow.
No, we can't. Finn control his orders. Let's bring them back tonight.
Duncan's crew could see their plan was working. His anguish was as plain as the lines on his boiler. It was dusk by the time they set off, and with every clatter of his wheels on the track, it grew darker and darker. The mists were rising in the valley and swirling around the old iron bridge. The moon was full and bright, and the rail creaked loudly on corners Duncan's trains clatter.
Rusty was wrong. There's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts.
He whistled nervously as he passed the water.
That's a signal. Let's go.
Peter Sam moved forward from the siding, eager to scare Duncan. Duncan's driver carefully stopped the train halfway along the bridge, as a shrill whistle echoed around them.
What was that?
Through the mist, Duncan could see flickering lights drawing closer and closer to the bridge. To Duncan, it looked like a steam engine. The engine whistled again, and Duncan's driver went to drop the brick from the side of the bridge. Duncan stood in a mesmerized horror at the lights, and the whistle echoed around them again. The puffing got louder and louder, with a hissing of steam and a clatter of trucks on the rails. But as quickly as it appeared, the lamp faded, and the silhouetted engine vanished from the mist.
What was that?
Ah! It's a ghost! Chamber back! Chamber back! Never mind if he was spot in the shed, whilst he can have all no crossing this bridge until daylight! Chamber back!
Duncan reversed his train back to the water, howling loudly with his eyes closed.
Chamber back! Please!
Duncan?
Ah! It's cobwebs!
Don't be daft, it's Peter Sam.
Duncan opened his eyes gingerly. Peter Sam was waiting in the siding by the water tower, looking worried.
What you all still doing here? I thought you were going to follow us across.
What do you mean, follow us?
We were trying to play a trick on you, Duncan.
And they explained their plan to him.
Your problem started when we couldn't get out to the siding. The points are stuck fast and against us.
It must have happened when we passed you on the way down.
So, it was all a trick? Ha! Ha! I knew it was nonsense.
Yes, but why have you come back then? I heard a lot of whistling from the bridge.
We thought that was you. We only whistled the once for the first signal. We dropped the brake and had the big splash you made. It was really effective, wasn't it, boy?
Aye, if you believe that sort of thing.
Hang on, we didn't drop anything over the bridge.
Eh?
How could we? It's a 10-minute walk there and back to here. Besides, look at we carried up and make a bigger splash than the brick.
They all paused, reflecting.
I thought I saw an engine lights.
I saw it too. I thought it was you, Peter Sam.
It was Peter Sam. Tell him. Please tell him.
It can't be me. You don't think?
They didn't want to think any further on it. The two crews fixed the points, and the cavalcade puffed for home, cautiously trundling over the old iron bridge.
There's no such thing as ghosts.
But even though Duncan kept saying that all the way home to the shed, it didn't stop him from begging the thin controller to give him a second chance at shunting the following day in Peter Sam's place.
There's no such thing as ghosts.
I don't think he sounds very convinced. Do you? if it wasn't Peter Sam, then who did Duncan see pushing those trucks onto the old iron bridge? I can only assume we'll never truly know.